Three, two, one, ghost. Hey, everybody, happy holidays. Welcome to 3, 2, 1, Ghost. We're deep into the holiday season. I can say happy holidays, right? I can still say that in this country, right? Um, welcome to 3, 2, 1, Ghost. I'm your host with the silent G, Kyle, and joined by always my I don't know. I was just trying to think some holiday version of a companion, confidant, partner, pal. I don't know.
If
Hey,
you if you
Natalie.
would have said if you would have said like Christmas elf or something, I would have left. I'm a petite woman.
And that's not the hierarchy of this situation. We're equals. I yeah, I don't know, because I was thinking like who, well, I guess maybe you would be the Krampus to my Santa Claus, because
Absolutely,
I
because
think
you've
they
got
work
the
in
beard.
tandem.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
true.
yeah. I've got some thoughts on that.
With a couple things of white coming through too. It's happening. Um it's the Christmas spirit. I feel like well, because the hair on my head is brown and the hair on my face is orange. Just glows
Orange,
orange and red
orange
and
is a strong word. It's definitely gingery, but not like bright orange.
to kind of give you a visual, I feel like I am. Do you remember I don't remember the last time you watched the Muppet Christmas Carol, but
Yes.
the Muppet of sorry, the Muppet of Christmas Present, the Ghost of Christmas Present,
Yeah.
where he's like, know me better, man. And he's walking through and he gets kind of older as he goes. And he's, because I'm kind of I'm a bigger guy. So like I feel like I identify a lot with him, especially as a few hairs come out silver and white. I feel like those are my goals, is to kind of be like him.
I love
Just
that
hanging
for
out with
you.
Michael
That's
Caine,
gonna
just talking.
that's gonna be an exciting journey. Yeah.
Where
I
were
I see
we?
it. I see it. What were we talking about? Krampus?
I yeah. Hey everybody, we're talking about the 2015 Mike Doherty. Did I pronounce that right? I don't know if I
Yeah.
did it last time,
You
but here
said
we
the
are
same thing
again.
last time. It's Doherty.
Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, did I mess
Yeah,
it up last time too? But hey, here we are.
I think you did.
Krampus.
Yeah.
Um, I when I first watched this movie, I don't know, I didn't put two and two together that it was the guy that did Trick or Treat.
Neither did I. This is new information to me as of this year. So when we covered Trick or Treat, I noticed that both of these were his, and I was like, "Oh, okay." So he's got his Halloween movie, he's got his Christmas movie. Love a little bit of both. And I think they're both really fun and very very different in their own ways. But I really enjoyed watching this movie this go around for sure.
Um, one thing I do remember from the Trick or Treat episode, um, was we were talking about the deaths in Trick or Treat and how they would often be like off screen, or they'd cut away.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking like, what would this movie look like if you just went PG-13 or PG-14, oh wait, rather, but if he like, what would that look like, and do you think it would change that much, really? And then here I am, I've already seen a movie by him, that's more of a, I think we can say it's geared more towards children, or I think so. I don't know.
No,
Did
I
your
don't think
child
so
like
at
it,
all.
this
I don't
movie?
think it is at all. He was barely watching it. He was playing Zelda in the background while I had it on, and I didn't have headphones on because I was kind of hoping that he would be like a little bit intrigued by it or fooled by it, like thinking I'm watching a Christmas movie. But he was very unimpressed, and I think at the point where they're in the attic and all the toys are attacking them, he looked up and he was like, "This looks kind of silly." And I was like, "Really? This looks kind of silly, but Sharknado is an Oscar-winning film for you." Like, I was a little surprised by that statement.
Sharknado is based in science,
It is. It is
whereas
really. Yeah.
yeah, there's no scientists in this movie. And granted, spoiler alert, I've never actually seen Sharknado. I'd
Oh
assume there's a
gosh.
scientist or two that shows up,
No,
that
not
lays
really.
out.
No.
Oh, really?
I again, as as a as a mom who is encouraging her child to watch as many creature features as possible, we went through a Sharknado phase, and I've watched, I don't know how many there are, but I feel like I've seen at least three. They're not good, like not even in an ironic way. For the first one, the first watch, it's fine. But yeah, it is what it is. They're if you like a lot of celebrity cameos, then that's definitely the movie for you. It's just different, celebrities that you haven't seen in a while just popping up left and right, and Tara Reid giving no effort.
And celebrities, um, star of the pod, Tara Reid, listen to our episode on Urban Legend.
Yeah.
Um, celebrities a little bit of a generous
It is for the
generous
people that are
acknowledgement.
in that. Yeah.
Which is pretty good. It's the dude from like 90210, right?
Yes, I don't remember his name. But I
Ian
do enjoy
something.
him. He's great in them. I will say that. Like, he's fully putting his heart into that acting in those movies, whereas everyone else feels very half-assed. Like, I'll give him that. I think he's doing a great job, like playing it completely straight in a situation that is just complete, just outrageousness. So yeah, we
Probably
went off the rails again.
probably easy second most successful male lead from 90210.
I'm assuming you're putting Luke Perry as number
Who
one.
else?
Of course, industry legend, RIP.
Rest in peace. Ah,
Yeah.
I watched way more Riverdale than I should have.
Because of Luke
Um,
Perry.
it certainly helped. He was a
I
grounding. Who knew
know.
that
I
putting Luke
know.
Perry was he was going to be just the grounding presence of that show. It was very funny.
Well, and
Um,
Skeet Ulrich is in that too.
I know it's so good.
Yeah, they're picking the best parents. Molly Ringwald is in it.
And what's her face from Twin Peaks? She played Shelley.
I don't remember
Um,
her real name.
Madchen Amick. Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't know.
They casted those parents perfectly. I know that we are supposed to be talking about Krampus, but I do have two housekeeping type agenda pieces. One of them does have to do with Krampus. The other one does not. Are you
Oh, I
ready?
thought you were going to say it has to do with Riverdale, and I'm like, wow, that's like
What a tie-in.
I feel like David Blaine, like able to bring all
Is
that
this your
back. God
card?
damn, I know. Wow, wow. Okay, go
No,
for it.
no. Okay, so some listener feedback. Listener feedback slash question. I'm springing this on Kyle, so he had no time to prepare.
Really in an episode? Okay, go for it.
Yes, because it's an easy one. It's an easy one. We shared that we were not fans of, not big fans, maybe not haters, but not fans of A Nightmare Before Christmas in our trick or treat episode. And I know that it's been a minute, but now it's Christmas time. The people want to know why. Why do we not care for A Nightmare Before Christmas? So I can start if you feel unprepared, but if you just want to go for it, I'll let you just jump right into it.
I mean, I think if you, no matter what I say, I think if you really get to the root of it, um, I have some troll tendencies and I have a cruel heart. And I I think that's probably where it all stems from, to be honest. If you like really want to get deep and ask me this question without any prep, um, because you would think like, it's like Christmas and Halloween. It's like, I think to a large part of the American community, global community, I don't know, they see that's like peanut butter and chocolate. Like, you put that shit together and
Mm,
have it all like have songs written and like sung by the dude from Devo. You're
yeah.
like, this is fucking dope. And at this point, like the Tim Burton involvement in it, I knew the producer, it was some Selleck. I keep wanting to say Tom Selleck, but I think it's Henry
No,
Selleck.
it's not Tom Selleck.
Not Tom Selleck, no. Mid 90s. He was too busy macking on Courtney Cox. We're
Yes,
thinking mid
he was
90s. Yeah.
busy. Yeah.
Yeah. So the you would think I would be just all in on it. I think a part of it too is it stems from my deep love for Haunted Mansion and how I really truly it really truly bugs me how they changed that ride for it.
So you just
And
have that resentment,
I really hold
deep rooted
that
resentment.
resentment a lot. And I'm just like, fuck this stupid fucking movie. Fuck
There it
y'all
is.
fucking people for
There it
loving this
is.
stupid shit. And I mean, even Tim Burton at the time, like dude, he was just win after win after win
Oh yeah.
coming up to that point, right? So there's really, maybe flew too close to the sun. I don't know. But I'll it's not going to be the first time I'm going to talk trash on this podcast, and it probably won't be the first time we bring up
Oh
this movie.
no.
And believe me, we've got plenty of Christmas. I thought you were going to say that people were upset that I said it was a Christmas movie rather than a Halloween movie. But I'm like, and I was like
No.
firmly going to dig my heels in on that. I was like, no, it's absolutely a Christmas movie.
I absolutely, before we had that conversation, thought of it as a Halloween movie. And then after chatting with you and you like saying like someone discovering the magic of Christmas and all of those things, I was like, well, you know what? This is a Christmas movie, which made me like it less, honestly. Um, but
So not only do I despise the movie, but how I talk about it makes other people like it less as well.
that's a real
Dang.
gift. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
maybe.
that's why we're here doing this today. I would say for me, I'll keep it short because I have had time to think about this. Obviously, I sprung the question on you, Kyle. I thought it'd be more fun that way. And I'm sorry, this is a hot take. I don't think not the music, not the background music, but the actual songs are that great. I like the Kidnap the Sandy Claus song, and I like that this is the Halloween song. That's it. Other than that, I find the music very underwhelming. I think it's visually beautiful, but I have no attachment to any of those characters. Like I think it's kind of boring, but I'll play it in the background every now and then, like, just to see, just to have it on. I like a lot of Tim Burton movies, so I like the general vibe. But yeah, I feel like it's one of those things that's super overrated, and it feels like a cash grab, like for all the merchandise that they sell. I guarantee the merch that they sell from that movie is making way more money than that movie actually made at box office. Like there's no way the fans of that movie will buy anything that has Jack Skellington on it. So that's our feelings on A Nightmare Before Christmas.
And kind of segue back in, it's like I feel like Christmas movies, thankfully a lot of them are just spooky by nature, right? I was talking about Muppet Christmas Carol. That's got 3 ghosts. Well, 4 ghosts,
I
right?
love that movie. Now
5 ghosts.
that's a good Christmas movie that's spooky. That's for kids.
Right?
That's a great example.
Christmas past, Christmas present, Christmas yet to come.
Yeah.
Marley and Marley. Okay. Yeah, 5 ghosts.
There you go.
So, I don't know. I love Bill Murray so much. I'll watch Scrooged every year.
I like
you know,
Scrooge too.
which again, Christmas Carol, same story, but you got ghosts in it already. And,
Yeah.
but so I feel like, I feel like there's always spooky holiday movies that will just always
Yeah.
edge out Nightmare Before Christmas. So, you know what? Maybe I'll watch it, and maybe we'll do it. And it won't be until next year, though. Sorry, schedule's already made up. But
Yeah, it's
maybe
solidified.
next year we'll see. We'll see how we're feeling.
The second matter on the agenda is,
Sure.
did you remember that there's a dog in this movie, Kyle?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Well, no. Yeah, I know. It's just like fuck.
I'm gonna tally how many movies we've gone over that have dogs dying.
So this one, we'll get to that. We'll get to
Okay.
we'll get to poor Rosie.
I just wanted to throw that out there. Like, I'm like, maybe Kyle secretly just keeps picking these movies. I think maybe I picked this one though.
I think it speaks more to how just disposable horror movies find dogs, and how it always has to be like, you know, just to show you that we're serious. Like before we kill a person, like we'll kill a dog first, and then, and then we'll go from there. It's just like, man, I just feel like even when dogs have like nothing to fucking do with anything, like they'll just go out, like in Hereditary. I'm like, fuck,
Yeah,
what's
that
the
dog
dog
didn't even
doing?
get in the way. Like at least this one was
Yeah,
trying to protect, but like
right.
that, yeah, dogs that don't get in the way, you're like, come on now. But yeah, I also had to just cover that. So we can get into that. We can get into that a little bit later. But I did like what you said about Christmas movies and the themes being generally spooky already to begin with. I absolutely agree. Do we want to talk about Santa Claus before we talk about Krampus?
Sure, go for it.
Do you want to hear what the research team dug up?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. What any new interesting finds?
Okay. We'll start with the concept of Santa. Hopefully everyone listening is familiar with jolly old Saint Nick, but in my household, we decided not to have Santa as a thing with my son. I was pretty neutral about it. My husband, strong feelings against Santa, not a Santa fan. In fact, I would call him a Santa hater. But what's creepy about Santa is that he sees you when you're sleeping and he knows when you're awake. And he comes in your chimney, he breaks into your home and leaves you gifts off of a magical list that he's just aware that you want. But here's the thing that really gets me about Santa.
Mhm.
If you're great, you get all the gifts. If you're bad, which I'm assuming he gets to decide who's good and bad, based off of whatever his moral compass is, you get nothing. So for kids that, might not have parents who can afford a certain amount of gifts and they're great kids, now we're just not getting gifts even though we were wonderful children all year. That concept to me is fucked. So I think I've said things about Santa before where I'm like, you know what, Santa, I'm an adult. I can buy my own gifts and be as naughty as I like, and you're just going to have to deal with it. So Santa, I already have issues with. Krampus, however, I think Krampus is quite fun. I love the idea of folklore that's just meant to scare the shit out of children into being good. It's not like, oh, you get gifts or you don't. It's you will get beat or eaten or sent to hell if you were a misbehaving child. It's magical.
I generally love cautionary tales. I do love children being eaten. I think that's always a fun watch and a fun time. And I think this movie, you know, given its given its parameters or limitations or whatever, I think this movie goes for it, you know. Um, Even though we'll talk about the ending a little bit
Yeah,
once we get
yeah.
there and if it pulls its punches. But yeah,
Yeah.
I wonder if Santa leaving coal was the answer to that, where it's like you get presents if you're good, you get coal if you fucking suck, like really fucking suck. And if you get nothing, Santa's like, whatever for you this year.
Well,
Just I'm not speaking with you.
this is where things get kind of complex with Santa and Krampus because I had always just thought of them like as I don't know, just these two, like maybe they intersect here and there, but they actually
Good cop, bad
they
cop.
yeah. So okay, how where these are coming from. So it's Central Eastern Alpine folklore, which already we're off to a great start. Like that just sounds lovely, right? So I literally had to ask my husband. I was like, when even is the sixth and seventh century? I was like, when is this? And he's like, that's exactly what it sounds like year like 600, 700. So you're looking all the way that back. That's like the earliest roots of like Krampus, of like art drawn of Krampus. So we're talking before electricity here, folks.
I think it's
Far.
the other way around too, by the way. I think it's
Well, this is, I'm sorry, it was
I think 6th and 7th century would be the year 500
5 and 6.
to 699, because the
But it
first century is 0 to 99. Or sorry, yeah.
Okay, yes, you're correct. You're absolutely correct. This is why the research team should be doing this work.
It's not that I'm correct. It's just make sure your husband knows that he was wrong.
No, I'm misquoting him. Please, I'm misquoting him. So, your origins are mainly Austrian. Austrians like have a lot of folklore for your Krampus. Croatia, Hungary, Slovenia, Slovakia, like all of these like Eastern European places. So, how we describe Krampus, of how he's typically looks, he's hairy, he's usually brown or black. He has cloven hooves and horns of a goat, and he's a long pointed tongue and fangs. So, and he typically wears chains, which we see in this movie, with bells, like small or large bells. And there's like a Krampus light, I'll call it, Krampus light, and then there's like this darker version of Krampus. So the original story of Krampus, I think that's a little bit, or I shouldn't say original, just the more commonly known, is that Santa and Krampus would travel together on December 6th, not Christmas, because this is way before any of that. And Santa would gift the well-behaved, I'm saying in quotations because I think Santa is very judgmental, children with oranges, dried fruit, walnuts, and chocolate. To which I was like, that sounds like a delightful little gift basket.
Nice little spread there.
Right? Like a little charcuterie situation. He was ahead of the curve. So
Yeah.
Santa gets that fun part. And then Krampus would give badly behaved kids punishment with his little birch rod. So he was literally just whooping ass for all the bad kids. So that's Krampus light. Okay. Darker Krampus carries a sack.
Emo Krampus.
Yeah, darker. Yeah, the emo Krampus.
Does this Krampus wear eyeliner?
I was just about to say he wears heavy eyeliner.
Thursday.
Yes. So he has a sack or a basket on his back, which he uses to cart off, quote, evil children. This is all coming from Wikipedia, folks. Evil children for preparing them for being drowned, eaten by him, or transported to hell. So if they're actually evil children, I think Krampus is really doing good work and Santa's just kind of half-assing the whole thing, because Krampus is getting rid of potential serial killers, is my thought, like evil children. That's the first thing I think of, like terrible people. So maybe he's providing a service, really.
Maybe. I'm curious to see how well, I mean, you can talk about, positive and negative reinforcements and the pros and cons of such. And then also, I guess my whole thing is whenever you get into, it's just like the dude from Saw, it's like when you get this bullshit moral complex about it, like you get to be choosy over who's naughty, who's nice. Those are subjective terms. Naughty to one person is very nice to someone else. I don't know.
Yeah. It's it's going to be different for every household, So I'm like, where's the nuance?
There's too much nuance. There's too much just extra context to be understood. And I just don't want to just centralize power like that,
Yeah.
You have your like I said, good cop, bad cop situation. And then I was thinking like, damn, Santa is a holiday cop. Krampus is a holiday cop, and they're judge, jury, and executioner, just beating children left and right and leaving coal in their sacks. And you're just like, I just don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't trust that. I don't I don't buy it. But then
Yeah,
maybe
they
now I'm
truly
going to be
are.
visited by Krampus for not having the Christmas spirit.
Well, and that's the thing. This movie definitely takes a different version of Krampus. So I couldn't find anything on Krampus that talks about, believing in Christmas or believing in Santa or having the Christmas spirit. Nothing like that. So I think that that is a something that is specifically written for this movie, but there's many different types of people and countries that celebrate Krampus, and actually he's been growing in popularity. So a lot of festivities of Krampus, like where people would dress up as Krampus and like run around the street.
Absolute one of my absolute favorite things that I've done up here in I live in the Seattle area, everybody. Don't come find me though. Um we,
Dressed as
unless I get on the
Krampus.
good list. Yeah, unless you're just as campus. But so like every Halloween time, there's one in Seattle, and then in the farm, like in all the farms and the kind of surrounding areas, they do like the haunted houses,
Mm-hmm.
each year. And there was one spot that they only did it. It was must have been the last year that they did it, but one of the spots that would do their haunted houses each year had a Krampus festival that December,
I love that.
where really honestly it was just the same haunted house just repurposed, and they just put Santa hats as well as a Krampus monster in a few different parts to make it look like he was following you through.
Yeah.
And but it was great because it was like it was all operating out of this barn, and in the adjacent smaller barn next to it, you had a little fenced in area with like plastic chairs and tables where you could, drink beer, which I'm pretty sure a teenager was serving us. And then they had like all the local school kids like do like they were doing like Krampus like morality plays,
I
like
love
one
that.
act, and I think they even had like a tarot card reader there, and someone selling like blankets with moons and wolves and shit on it, what I'm talking about. But I remember being like telling my wife we gotta go to this, and bless her heart, she's like, yeah, hell yeah, we'll do that. And that was so much fun. But
Oh, I
it
bet.
hadn't happened since. But like, oh, I love it. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, they basically it was like a thing. They would have like parades and things like that in different areas. And then at some point, you know, the fear of Krampus, like in children's mind, like people started to worry, like, is this great for children's mental health? And, you know, um, I get it. Maybe being carried off to hell is scarier than not getting presents, but at the same time, I have an 8-year-old son. If I told him he wasn't getting any presents, he would be just as devastated if I said, guess what? After school, we're going to hell. He'd be like, will there be toys? Like that would be his first his first question. So I'm like, to get rid of the festivities of Krampus and not Santa seems wild to me. But now he's growing in popularity. There's been more Krampus fests and it's been going great for him. So yeah, this I think this movie kind of for me, this movie flew under the radar. I did not see it in theaters. Did you?
No, me neither. I we're gonna have to keep a running tab on things you can get dragged to hell for, because I
It's a
feel
lot of
like
things.
we at least we know if you deny someone their third mortgage extension, and or maybe their fourth, maybe they had three already, I forget. And then just not having the spirit of Christmas, or living in the same neighborhood of a child that is not believing in Christmas, because
Yeah,
it
for
looks like
real.
Krampus just fucking went wild. Like,
Oh
what
yeah.
did that poor delivery driver do? He's the dude's working like in the holidays, like,
He's working in a blizzard.
yeah, and you're like, he's and that poor guy. I don't know. So just
Yeah.
because this kid, it's not fair.
Yeah,
So
it's
I don't
pretty
know. I
fucked
think
up.
I think Krampus, especially in this one, I know it's a there's been different versions of Krampus, but this one just kind of, man, he just shoots everywhere. He's not
Yeah, he
really.
just tore through the place. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm something too about this movie. I don't know if you noticed this. first time I've noticed this and watching it. And I think I've watched this movie like way more than I thought, because when I realized that it came out in 2015, I was like, oh, I've seen this at least 4 times. And that's a lot for like an 8-year period, considering there are movies that I absolutely adore that I haven't watched in like maybe 10 or 15 years. But the first 20 minutes of this movie has absolutely no indication that you're watching a horror movie. Like it feels 100% like a Christmas movie. Did you notice that? There's no like sinister music, nothing.
You open with, you know, all the different kind of scenes at the mall and everyone being
Black
awful to each
Friday.
other. Very like jingle all the way kind of
Mm-hmm.
situation there. Just sans Turbo Man or the dog. I forget the name of Turbo Man's dog. Y'all throw it in the
I
comments.
don't either. Yeah.
Um, there's no comment section. So we'll have to figure it out. So come find me, dress as Krampus, and tell me what the name of Turbo Man's dog is. Um, yeah, yeah, really up until that point, like, so it's really enjoyable, and that's what I don't know. I
Mm-hmm.
think what a good cast. That's kind of what drew me into this. Like you have some great people, and I really
Yeah.
love comedians in horror movies.
Oh yeah, they're the
It's
best.
so much fun. I mean, of course, I we could have picked, there's so many different, Christmas movies and holiday movies. At first I was like, why did we pick this one? And I was like, oh, you know what? We just probably weren't thinking about it. Tony Collette.
Yeah.
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 we just
Because
we
we
just talked
talked
about
about
Hereditary.
Hereditary. Yeah, we talked about
Yeah.
Hereditary and was like, maybe we just keep this going.
Yeah, and we talked about the Fright Night remake a little bit during Fright Night, so it's, we're really big Toni Collette fans here on
We
the
really
pod.
are.
So
She's fantastic. Random Toni Collette thing that I just found out about. She was in The Sixth Sense, and she's Haley Joel Osment's mother in that movie. He was like 9 at the time. She was 25 in that movie. Like her actual age was 25.
hmm,
I never would have thought that.
I did not know that.
That wig that they put on her like is meant to make her look, I think, a little bit more older. But yeah, she was super young. I didn't even realize, but just want to throw that out there. But yeah, Toni Collette's amazing. I also love Adam Scott, and I love him in horror too, because if I haven't shared this already, I love Piranha 3D, and he is in that movie, and he's so good in both of these movies. I really enjoy Adam Scott.
He's generally a gem in everything. So
Yeah.
I love Party Down. I love Parks and Rec.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
Party Down in Parks and Rec, he's really good too.
but you've
Yeah.
got David Koechner, who I mean, he's pretty one note, is that just kind of belligerent, masculine,
Yeah.
you know,
He I had
dickhead, but
I had some thoughts about him as I watched it this go around, because he definitely starts off as like that same character that he tends to play. But he has his moments where he calms down a little bit and he's actually pretty useful. Like Howard has some moments of usefulness, which I appreciate. So I don't remember the name of the actress that plays his wife, Linda. She's I've seen her in a couple of other things too, and I didn't really dig into her.
that is Allison Tolman, who is, I mean, she might be more well known for other things, but she was in the first season of the show based on Fargo, and she kicks a lot of ass in that one. She's really fun. It's like
Mm,
she's the like small town deputy who is unraveling a crime in a small town. It's great. But
okay.
yeah, so I knew her from that. So, and then you've got that woman that was in Two and a Half Men, but I couldn't tell you.
Oh, who
I could
plays
probably count on,
Aunt Dorothy?
yeah, who plays Aunt Dorothy, who Aunt
Isn't
Dorothy.
she? I'll have to take a look. What about Aunt Dorothy? She's the worst aunt.
Yeah, I thought if anyone kind of overstayed their welcome out of the cast, it was probably Aunt Dorothy.
She has a couple of like good moments of just being like feeling like a real annoying family member, like the type of family member that like will come to your house and just talk a bunch of shit about the type of food that you make. Like I've definitely had stuff like that happen. Like, where you do something nice and then it's like, oh, this is fancy. And you're like, okay, fuck off. Like, don't don't tell me I'm too fancy for you. But I enjoy Aunt Dorothy enough. She's fine. I was trying to look to see if she's in something else that I love, but
We have a research team for that.
yeah.
Don't worry.
She's in a lot. I know she's in a lot of movies. That's I knew she looked fucking familiar. She plays um the nurse in Buffy the Vampire Slayer in a random episode. So
I
there you
like
go.
fucking knew as there was that stall, and I was like, it's gonna be someone from some random ass episode of Buffy, I'm sure. And that's how she knows them from.
Isn't it
Um,
always?
I
Yeah.
know. um, where was I? So basically, you open at the mall and they're getting their photos taken. People are fighting over toys, blah, blah, blah. Everyone's sitting on Santa's lap doing the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a thing where, you have this kid. Jesus, what's the kid's name?
Max.
Max, right.
Mm-hmm.
Max is a mouthy little kid, and
He has a temper.
has a temper. And I like Max needs, I think, some maybe could stand for some, for some support, a little extra support, even outside of this whole nightmare holiday situation. I'm like, I don't know if like just defending like the spirit of Christmas is enough to just start like wailing on some kid or getting in fights, because there's like twice he like just starts jumping to physical aggression.
Yeah, and also, really ripping up the letter is what makes Krampus come for him. How about starting fights? How about that? Like, was Santa even going to come your way anyway after that?
Yeah.
That
I mean,
shitty behavior?
he was clear in his letter. He's like, I know I haven't been a good kid.
Yeah.
I've been fighting a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. I've written to a lot of fictional gift giving cartoon characters this year.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was just thinking, yeah, I guess just ripping up that letter. I mean, I think that's just him like ultimately just giving up, even though like, I don't know, you're supposed to think that that letter is like cute or like
How
heartfelt.
how old is he? Like, not
I
to
mean, he's
not
like
to judge anyone here, but
10 maybe.
yeah, he's got to be about 10. And I know that his sweet grandma is, feeding into it. She's like, like you should write your letter to Santa. Um, the letter is also kind of judgy, like,
It's super judgy. First of
right?
all, like when everyone's just, like when the adults are like reacting like, oh no, like he's right. He's saying, or he's such a sweet kid and it's all coming from a sweet spot and this and this and this. He's like, Jesus, oh, I wish mom and dad would fall in love again or whatever the fuck he says. I'm
And you
like,
don't
get
know
the
what they're
fuck out of
feeling.
here. You were a child, get out of here. And then also to fucking throw shade at whatever financial situation the aunt and uncle are in, like, hey, look out for them too. I know they're struggling really hard. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know, it looks like they're able to provide gifts for their kids. It looks like they have a very
Yeah.
nice utility vehicle. They're all,
Yeah. Did it kind of give you the when the sister and Howard and them are all like arriving, it kind of gives me like Christmas Vacation vibes, but like they're
yeah,
like a fancier, richer version of damn it, I'm forgetting his name.
Uncle
Uh
Eddie.
Uncle Eddie. Yes, like they're like a fancier little version of Uncle Eddie and family. So that's kind of what I was thinking. So but yeah, like they don't seem like they're financially strapped. That Hummer is gorgeous. Like, come on.
Yeah,
How
they
much
can
did that
afford
set
the
you back?
firearms. And the
Yeah.
kid, just like in the kids, I'm
They're
like,
in
they have a
sports.
baby that looks healthy.
Yeah.
They weird throwing shade at, the gender ambivalence of Jordan and Stevie.
Yeah.
First of all, the teenage daughter is just like, "Ugh, it's so weird. Why do I have to talk to girls who pee standing up?" And I'm like, first of all, what does that
Do
mean? And
they?
two, it's first of all, if
How would she know
I
that?
don't know. I would just think that if people with that anatomy had the ability to pee very easily standing up, I think they would. It's
Yeah.
like
I
I can pee
wish.
standing up, and it is like it's really convenient. So I don't know
Yeah,
why we're throwing
I
shade
bet it's
there.
great having a dick.
It's really easy.
Kyle just used that as a way to just be like, it's so easy to pee. Like
I
just
just like
standing
that. That's
up.
what I took from that. I was like, that's weird shade to throw. And I think it was like maybe still just like a little bit of like kind of like attacking like the tomboyish nature, or like whether or
Yeah.
not like David Keckner is like, is like making them be more masculine or whatever. But I'm just like, I don't know. The kids seem happy and they do what they like. And so like, I don't know. I mean, now granted, they're
Yeah.
little shits for
Oh
reading that
yeah.
letter, but it was a stupid letter. So, come on.
Also, like the parents are just letting them read that letter. I'd be like, no, like snatch it out of their hands. You're all adults. You're in charge here. Like, I can't believe that they let that fly. I would be fucking furious. As shady and shitty and judgmental as that letter is, we don't all need to hear it at the dinner table. We should be eating creme brulee instead. Like, it, who interrupted dessert? Like, come on. Of course, they all still had full plates when she brought out dessert. It's a little premature.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. The other fun thing that I noticed, and I mean they make this pretty clear. They do like the family Santa picture, which I've never seen like the parents in the Santa picture unless it's a baby. But they're like kind of like preteens, so that was kind of strange. But Santa is checking out the daughter who, how old could she possibly be? Like,
Like 14, 15,
yeah. So like,
maybe
and Tony
15.
Collette's just looking at the picture like, oh, and I was just like, what the fuck, Santa? Like, what a creep. No, thank
Like,
you.
don't you like check the it's like buying like the photo of, you know, you going down Splash Mountain with your friends. Like, you check the proof if you're gonna pay the exorbitant
Yeah.
price for this, right? So like, how would you not see that already?
Yeah,
Yes,
she did.
you're
They
in a
didn't look
rush.
at it.
I get
They
it.
didn't look at it.
But and then also I noticed like she was adding to all the years of photos,
Yes.
of Christmas
Mm-hmm.
photos. There was like maybe 3 or 4 prior, and
Yeah.
I'm like, does she put all of them out each year, or does she just add one every single year and they keep the rest of them up?
I would bet she puts them out every year. Like she pulls them down and then puts them back up. Yeah.
That's weird.
It's that is
I
very
guess
that
maybe not as
feels
weird as leaving them all up.
one, that feels very East Coast to me. And two, I she seemed pretty into Christmas. Like her like or at least the performativeness of Christmas. Like she really went big on the decorating and the cooking. And I from how Adam Scott like communicates with her and says, like you can relax every now and then or like that sort of thing. You get that that's like her character type, that she's like very type A and likes everything to be perfect and all those things. So I could definitely see that woman hanging up those Christmas photos every single year and then taking them down.
When your husband tells you you need to just relax, does that work? Do you just relax immediately and say,
we've
wow,
talked
thank you?
we've talked about this before, and no, unless it's if it has nothing to do with like anything, like if we're sitting together having a nice conversation and like something trivial like happens, or maybe like it's the end of the day, like what, just relax, like we don't need to fold the laundry right now, like that kind of thing, that doesn't bother me too much. But yeah, if I'm visibly stressed, yeah, don't tell me to relax. Especially, I'm sorry, if you have family over, for any reason, there's no time to relax. Absolutely not. Like, I don't care if it's your most chill family member. I'm not relaxing. Like, if I have people in my home, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Especially when you're dealing with fucking Aunt Dorothy, who you are not counting on.
What a bitch Aunt Dorothy is. And also,
Yeah.
like, she could not even be troubled to take care of those children in a life or death situation. Aunt Dorothy.
Unless she was feeding them alcohol.
Yeah. Which
So
felt very real to me, honestly, for her character.
yeah, she's like, let me teach you to make peppermint schnapps. And I was like, wait, peppermint schnapps is just peppermint schnapps. But
Well, I think she like because she put the
in
candy
tea or
cane.
coffee
Yeah, she was making her own little
situation.
yeah, creation there. It was like hot cocoa and candy cane and peppermint schnapps,
It's
maybe.
pretty good. So Max is like, the spirit of Christmas is over for me. This is too much. I've
Mm-hmm.
been embarrassed and shamed. And so he rips up the letter and, like, throws it out the
Litters.
window, which I'm like,
Fucking
yeah, litters.
litters.
And I think that's probably what set Krampus off. But I'm like,
Krampus was
also,
like,
by
what
the
the
way,
fuck? I was gonna build a snowman here. Maybe 50.
but then also, yeah. And but I'm like, also, it's December 23rd. Like, when are you gonna fucking mail that letter, bro? Like,
Yeah, that DHL
how much
guy
time?
like is really putting in work. And you're out here not even you're counting on USPS?
Yeah, I know. Jeez. Or what was it? Like, they couldn't say UPS. It was like the boys in brown, probably.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah,
like,
he
that's
said the
really
boys are
weird.
brown.
Why couldn't you just say, like, I don't know, it's just here when I got here and then
Yeah.
left? I don't know. It felt weird because I'm sure they didn't want to say UPS
Yeah.
for, like, I don't know, giving them money or something. I'm not sure.
DHL made the cut.
Yeah, there you go. I don't think I've ever used DHL before outside
No.
of when I was working at a movie theater. We would get prints,
Yeah.
of the movies that would come in at like 1 a.m, and it was always DHL in these, like, awful, hexagon kind of tin cans that you had to, like, unlock and open and pull the film out and roll it. It was very, I
Hmm.
don't know. Yeah,
I think that they
DHL. There you go.
I think the reason why DHL would do something like that is because they don't make as many deliveries, and I think they're known for being more careful than your typical FedEx or UPS situation. But I won't talk too much shit because I've dealt with FedEx drivers and UPS drivers for a very long time, and a lot of them are very lovely, hardworking people. But they do throw around a box. They sure do.
They do know how to toss a box.
Yes.
Plenty. It's like they see the fragile sticker as a dare, you know.
Just start kicking things around. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what sets off Krampus. And I wonder if maybe this child is just a little bit more predisposed to being haunted by the Krampus because Krampus was already keeping an eye out on the grandma,
I
you
thought the
know.
same thing.
So
Absolutely.
I just remember at one point where, he turns to the grandma, Omi or Oni, and says, you know, this is my fault. I think this is all my fault, you know.
Mm-hmm. As
And
he catches
then
on pretty quickly.
she turns and says something to them. Now, normally, whenever she is speaking in German, there'll either be subtitles or
Mm-hmm.
Max will either say what she says or there'll be some context
Yeah.
clues. But she responds in German, but you don't know what she says. So we'll have to ask someone. We'll have to run it up to the research team, to see who
Mm.
speaks German
Oh, I
and
didn't
let
even
us
notice
know.
that.
But I was curious because I was thinking what she was going to say is either, oh yeah, definitely this is your fault, or actually this is probably my fault,
Yeah,
to be
we're
honest.
we're both kind of fucking up here, so could be both.
So her version of Krampus, this backstory,
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but when she explains when Krampus visited her when she was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and it cuts into this animated sequence,
Which I love.
um, I think it's the best part of the movie.
I love the animation. I think it's really cool.
I would just watch that. And it's funny for someone that shits on Nightmare Before Christmas, even though it's not, it's more like,
That's scary. The shadow work,
yeah,
like, and that is
it
fun.
looks good.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a creative way to do something different.
Yeah, and I like how it's the same crew rolling with Krampus. Like, you got your gingerbread folk, little guys. Even though like those, I like the gingerbread people the least because it just gives me just Minions vibes.
Oh, we're gonna. I've got questions for you about his crew. So
Yeah.
I hope you're prepared.
So but they find that out after what two kids have been eaten by this point, both the teenage daughter.
Yeah, she keeps that story. She keeps that story real close to her chest, considering how serious things are, like, and what's at stake. You know?
And I think if she knew, I just think that there'd be a little bit more investment in keeping that Christmas spirit going for other people,
Yeah.
like you're just like, like I get it. Like Adam Scott's being kind of a dick at first when he's like, you know, Mom, don't waste your time, like, my wife
Mm-hmm.
bought cookies. Don't worry, and
Mm-hmm.
it's more like it's not about like having cookies or not. It's about like I'm doing this thing that I've
Yeah.
been doing and I'm doing something nice and that's the whole part of the holidays, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of parenting issues in this movie. Like
A little bit.
you've got a full on blizzard going on outside. If you're going to let your daughter walk over to someone's house, maybe have anyone else go with her who's an adult. Like when you see her walking through that blizzard, like that's intense. That would be enough for me to go back inside and be like, all right, fuck that guy. Like we're just gonna have to talk on the phone because that like you just let her go out in that in those conditions.
Wouldn't. And I mean, and the phones are dead, so it's just like you have like no way to find out if
Yeah.
she's there and gets there on the other side. But I would definitely be like,
Just stay home.
well, one, either stay home, or two, like as Adam Scott or whoever, one of the adults, I'd be like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going with you. And
Yes.
because I also have a vested interest in just finding anyone else that has power, finding literally just anybody else in general.
Yeah, well,
So I'm like,
yeah, that's because he was saying he wanted to go across the street to check with the neighbors. So it's like just walk her there, check out some of the neighbors, two birds, one stone. Like it's a perfect situation. Like don't send her um on her own. But I do really like the introduction of Krampus and seeing how he's like massive but super agile. Like he can jump from house to house. You wouldn't expect that from his size and shape. Like he seems hunched over.
yeah, it seems very like just older, a little more decrepit, but he's like doing
Uh-huh.
like just some parkour from like
Oh
house
hell
to
yeah, he
house. It
is.
was very
Yeah,
impressive.
it was very parkour. Yeah,
Just doing
absolutely.
backflips and he's like, what was that fucking movie with the parkour monster that grew out of that woman's back?
Oh, Malignant. This is the second
That's
time
it.
that you've referenced that movie and didn't know the title of it.
So
I
yeah, pretty cool parkour situation.
remember the first time I watched this movie, I was so shocked that she was the first one to go or like something to happen to her. And I like the little introduction of that little Jack in the Box too. There's something about a Jack in the Box that just really I am not okay with them. They why? Like I obviously like a thrill, I like a chill, but like I don't want that thing popping out. Like no, thank you.
I was pretty impressed with almost all of the creature designs
Yeah.
outside of the gingerbread men, to be honest, because they just felt that was the most CG looking. Maybe that robot too, but
I think everything else was practical other than the gingerbread man. And then of course Krampus's face has I think
yeah,
some effects on it. But okay, since you keep bringing up these gingerbread men, I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. Let's talk about this his little spooky crew because I really like the design of Krampus, even though you can tell that he's got some CG. I think he's really cool looking. I think he's scary.
yeah.
I like his hands. I like his horns. Like I like the whole thing. So his little crew, if you include the elves, who aren't toys. Like you can include them. Then you've got Kyle's favorite, the gingerbread men. Then you've got the little robot guy. Then you have the bear, that weird angel of sorts, and then that ginormous Jack in the Box snake worm thing going on. Did I get all of them?
Yeah.
I think so. Who's your favorite? Since we know you don't like the gingerbread men, which one is your favorite?
Probably the angel.
Really?
I just loved when she's, because I like, because a lot of them like, hey, I have that like kind of toy kind of look
Yeah.
aesthetic. I love how it was very Evil Dead to me
Yeah.
when they were up in the attic and Tony Collette is being pinned down and like the angel's like tongue comes out and it's just like
Yeah.
licking her face and just
Yeah.
just moving and gyrating.
And the sounds she makes are
Y'all
pretty
can't see
funny
the hand
too.
motion I'm making.
It's good. It looks
Yeah,
like it.
that one was really fun. I would say like it's tied between her and the Jack in the Box snake, just
Mm.
because when his mouth
Oh,
opens, it looks so good. I
yeah.
love it, and just yeah, just the commitment to eating children. I all about it.
Yeah, I think the Jack in the Box is my favorite. He gets the most like very clear screen time, but that the way his mouth is designed is really good. Like it's terrifying. And I think the best thing about it is that the first time that Adam Scott sees anything supernatural, it is that Jack in the Box, and his reaction is literally, "Oh, come on." And I love that so much because I feel like that's just a perfect reaction to something so outrageous, like after all the shit they've already been through.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I was not a big fan of that robot thing.
Yeah, I don't know what it felt very like later installments of Puppet Master, right?
I was going to ask you, what crew would you take, the Puppet Master crew or the Krampus crew?
Oh, for sure, Puppet Master.
Yeah, me too. Easy one.
I I have an attachment to Puppet Master, but I also thought about the movie. Have you ever seen Demonic Toys?
A long time ago.
I haven't seen that in a hot second, but I thought about that because they also have like a clown Jack in the Box type guy. But I really like the way that this one looks. I think Krampus has a pretty cool crew.
So when grandma's doing the flashback and then there's like a shot of grandma in her room and you see the shadow of Krampus in the doorway and you see like the gingerbread guy like
On the
hanging from the
chains.
hook and waving and then the elves and stuff like that. And I was thinking, so this crew's been rolling for a long time.
Oh yeah.
And was the robot there there too? Because I just wonder like, or was the robot, did he join later, like after, like, I mean, he's like, I was invented as a robot, but like I just like don't want to be like a fun robot anymore.
He wants
Like
to be a
what kind of
misfit
robot do you think
toy.
he was? Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
don't know if I got a clear shot of like what kind of robot he
Oh,
was.
I did not get a clear shot of him at all, but maybe he was like a reject robot. Like it was a prototype, and they were like, this is never going to work. No kid will ever want to buy this. And Krampus was like, you know what? Come on, let's go terrorize children and families together.
Yeah.
Could be. I want an origin story of that robot. Let's hear that
Just
story.
that crew coming together and just what they do in the off season too. Cause it's like clearly like I know Krampus has a home. Like, does Krampus provide a living wage to the rest of them? Like, where do they live? Probably in a place not as big as Krampus is, right?
Yeah.
Unless they've got like a dual income if they're living all together, or
I would think that they
something. I'm
kind
not
of live
sure.
together. I mean, he kind of carries them
You think
around in that
so?
bag. Like he wraps them up and carries them in that bag, and then they have to like unwrap themselves. That feels it's smart though. He planted them in there. I love that. I love that strategy.
I wonder. I think that can be hard to live with who you work with.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be rough.
Oh, there's a time I lived with someone I worked with, and we were also in a band together, so we were around all the time. I don't know. I had a great experience. I don't know if he'll say the same, but I hope so.
Maybe.
I
Um
was mostly not annoying.
No, I think we did all right. We did all right. Early 20s. For first time living out in the big city of Temecula.
Oh, I wasn't talking about you.
Oh no.
No, I was talking about my friend Abe in San
Well, no. Oh,
Francisco.
I knew that you were talking about a bandmate, but I thought you meant when we lived together. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I said, I love that the movie, at least seemingly, and it's PG-13, PG-14. Oh wait, I'm gonna keep doing that
Yeah.
forever. Sorry. Those limitations, like, you still have this thing like eating children and dragging children up through, the chimney and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
you're thinking, especially like after one gets eaten, you're like, oh no, no, these children are gone. It's not even like just, yeah, Krampus was like, no, 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 I kidnap you. I can't speak to what that fucking thing does. That thing just might eat you,
Yeah. Well,
So
and the interesting thing about this whole Krampus situation, so he's outside hanging out, fucking around, making snowmen, like at a very accelerated rate. Those snowmen are super creepy. And then they start to represent the victims of the family, like which I noticed for the first
it
time
was a good
this
touch.
watch.
Me too.
But the grandma, Omi, she like casually mentions to Adam Scott, her son, like, keep the fire hot. Like it to me, that implies like, oh, like make sure everybody's warm. It probably would have been good information to have that the fire was what was keeping Krampus out, but also as soon as the elves just decide they're just going to bust through that window. So why didn't they just do that sooner? Like, maybe he enjoys fucking with them or he just has to come through a chimney? I don't get it. Like, what was that timing?
I mean, like, I think there's plan A and plan B. And then also, like, kind of like I was saying with the Jack in the Box snake, it's like I can only control what I can control. So I,
Plants him.
we're also a team. Like, yes, do I lead them? Yes, do I drag them around in my bag? But we're a diverse group of people with diverse opinions and diverse thoughts. So I think that the plan is like, the chimney route and
Yeah.
taking the children that way, or just beating them with the birch sticks,
Mm-hmm.
or the birch rod or whatever. Um, Elves just don't have that time. I mean, elves just,
Yeah. Who
they don't want
knows?
to get cute with it. Like, this is, they're busy. They got things going on. This is like 2 days before Christmas, and here they are dealing with this bullshit, right? So I mean, I
Yeah.
guess when elves, I would assume they're from the same labor force, I would suppose, right? Like, do you
Mm-hmm.
think that Santa's elves, like when they find out, like, there's some shitty kid like Krampus is gonna go deal with, like, do they have to like put in like a work email being like, hey, we need overtime, we're offering overtime for you got to head over to this place. We got to be it's the mean elf shift though, not the
Not the toy making.
making, no, not the toy making, it's the mean shift. So, just go just go wild though. They stole a baby and just ran off with it.
They felt very professional. Like I feel like they do that 100% of the time. That's their
Very
job.
coordinated.
Yeah, like the good elves that are working for Santa, like they're expert toy makers. They don't know how to invade and, bust through windows and stuff like that. They're building things. They're not destroying things. These are two very different types of elves. But I know you said you didn't like the design of the gingerbread men, but I did think that it was kind of fun when they attack Howard in the kitchen.
I like that. I like Rosie coming to the
I
rescue.
love that she eats one. That's so cute.
It's just like, hey, a dog treat's a dog treat. I don't care if it's, you know,
Yeah, she's like, it's a gingerbread man.
anthropomorphic, you and I think if anything, that would make my dogs want to eat it
Oh, for
more.
sure. She was probably
Like,
so excited. It's flying in the air. She's like, oh, I'm going to catch it.
yeah. So
Yeah.
good for Rosie. And then also, speaking of, we could just jump to, Rosie, rest in peace. Or well, maybe with this ending.
Yeah, I
But
don't think
that was
she.
that was absolutely fucking Max's fault too for getting Rosie killed. No one was asking
Did he open the vent?
to send Rosie into the vents. He goes on his own, unasked, to open the vent and say, go for it, dog.
That's fucked.
Get it.
It,
And I'm
like,
like,
there's
what?
no
I would
chance
be
that
so
dog,
mad.
there's no chance that poor little Rosie is going to
No.
be able to take that Jack in the Box. Are you kidding? No. That's wild.
Yeah. So I just don't get. That's the thing. I just don't get this kid. Just couldn't get behind him. His dumb little Christmas wishes.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so normally Howard aggravates me because the Howard was originally my least favorite. And this time I think it was Max as my least favorite of the characters. Not because of the kid that actually like plays Max. Like he does a fine job. It's just like all the things that we've talked about already of his character. But this time around, I was thinking a lot about Howard because he's like super obnoxious. Then as soon as like Adam Scott is like, can your truck like drive out in the snow? He's like, fuck yeah, it can. And he's got like his guns ready. And I was like, that's when it's nice to have like that, like kind of redneck gun toting brother-in-law that you're just like, oh, in an apocalyptic situation, like you're really handy to have. But other than that, maybe not. But I really enjoy their whole exchange and adventure out in the other houses because he like recognizes like the hoof prints and he's like, that's bigger than anything I've ever hunted. And I was like, oh, all of your like skills that normally would in real regular life would never be useful are useful in this situation. So I enjoyed Howard more this time, but then he goes back to being an asshole at some point. Kind of loses his shit a little bit again. But yeah, I enjoyed them being outside and he thanks Adam Scott for saving his life. So I was like, he can be humble too.
I don't know. I mean, yes, I it was kind of what I was thinking before Aunt Dorothy got pulled away is, when she was, all of a sudden Aunt Dorothy's a great shot with a shotgun. But
Mm-hmm.
then I was like, good. I was like, at least we got something useful out of you.
Yeah.
And then you're gone, and I don't really feel that bad about it.
Yeah.
Though I don't know, I don't know if I need to be a hunter to know that was bigger than the hoof of a goat.
Well, did you feel like
I'd be
Adam
like,
Scott would know that based off of like everything that he said? The way he's holding the gun, did you notice that he holds the gun like upside down by the bottom
that's
of the
pretty good.
handle? I love that. I thought that was so funny. I had not noticed that the first couple watches. I think every time I've watched this movie, because it has moments where it drags for sure. For how short it is. Like I feel like there are a few moments where I'm like, okay, this is going on a little bit long. I noticed because I was actively really watching it this time, like, things that I would have like moments when I would have been distracted on, scrolling on my phone or something, which I don't do when I'm watching, to prepare for recording. But yeah, I appreciated Howard a little bit more in this watch for the type of character he is. And I still though can't forgive him for falling asleep. How dare he tell Adam Scott to go sleep with his family and then just falls asleep by the window.
Yeah, bro, you had one job. Come on.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Like, come on.
So, but gosh, I feel like, you have this attack on the house from the bear, which is he's kind of middle of the road. He looks fine.
Cute.
And you lose poor Rosie, rest
Mm-hmm.
in peace, Rosie. And I just feel like the movie, I get where it kind of like stalls because I feel like kind of after this, like, it's like, well, okay, do we keep them in the house or like what do we do?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the movie like really kind of, you know, rushes to an end and doesn't really know what to do with itself, especially when
Yeah.
there's like, you're over an hour in, people are getting attacked, but I feel like it's pretty quickly where it's like, we have like a pretty large cast, we need to start kind of getting rid of people. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like you lose you know Stevie and Jordan, or no, I guess no, sorry, just Jordan
Mm-hmm.
and the baby and Aunt Dorothy
Mm-hmm.
and David Keckner all pretty quick
Yeah.
till you're just down to like, you're like keeping track of like how many
And
children are left do we have?
the grandma
Oh, and then the
sacrifices
grandma.
herself.
Right. To buy them like no time whatsoever.
Yeah.
I never understood that. Unless I never understood that in movies, unless it was really more like, I'm an old woman, I'm going to slow you down. More than I'm buying you time.
Yeah, that was kind of more my thought. Like she's like, maybe I can slow him down for a little bit and I'm not walking out there in that blizzard.
I like that they just take off with the baby. They're just like, yep, like this, and just how these
Which I
parents are
forget
just, yeah,
every time.
just consistently failing.
Yeah.
And they like one job, which is, especially when they say that dumb shit about, like a shepherd protects his flock, back and forth to each other.
Yeah, it's like your one job is to keep those kids alive. Just
That
keep
like
them
alpha
alive.
male nonsense. And it's like, but you clearly, none of you can do it.
Yeah.
Because, but I feel like the movie just, even when there's like 20 minutes left, I have it on the background here, but it's like, as we're, it feels like it's just very much just rushes to an end where it's like they leave the house,
Mm-hmm.
the grandma, gets killed allegedly, and then none of them make it to the truck outside of the two
Then
children
how are they
left
going to
who,
drive
I mean,
that
fuck.
that truck? I wouldn't know how to
I
drive
mean,
a truck like that.
even even me with a stick shift, I'm like,
Yeah, like
it's been a long
who
time.
knows
I
how
never
far they're
really
going to make
actually
it.
like practice this well. So let's see how far it even get. And yeah, so and then by that point you only have Max left, and then you have this um final kind of conversation check in with Krampus and the team as they've got their portal to hell open at
Yeah.
somewhere in this neighborhood. You never
Yeah.
really know exactly how far they've gone, because you can still, even with the storm, it's like when you could hear the gunshots from the original time that Adam
Mm-hmm.
Scott and David Koechner go out. Like I feel like I'm like, even with the storm, like they'd have to be pretty close for you to hear it that well.
Yeah, I
So
think
I never really. It's hard to get the bearings of like how far out they actually made it,
I don't think they made it very
but
far because
I mean a couple blocks, I think.
maybe not even because the daughter in the beginning, Beth, she says that her boyfriend lives just a couple houses down. So I think that the
Four
blizzard
blocks away.
did she?
Yeah, he lives four
Oh,
blocks away.
okay,
I
that's
remember
pretty
him
far.
saying that.
But at some point, Howard says that they were out there for like he said within 4 minutes he felt like he was already getting frostbite on his fingers. So like that storm was severe and obviously like magical. So that's severe. And it's hard to tell because there's no road anymore. Like everything's covered in snow. It almost looks like they're walking through a forest, but they're definitely still walking through a neighborhood. So it's hard to tell.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just this kid, the audacity of this child,
Yeah, yelling
once
at
they take
Krampus.
like Krampus being like, oh yeah, first of all, be like, I take my wish back. And I'm like, who do you like think this is? And like, in what case?
Like, calm down, Aladdin.
Even
This isn't
and then he and then even then could Aladdin take his wish back
no.
in that story either? No.
No.
What makes you think that you can do that?
No, he has
Like no
no.
takebacks is a very common phrase. And the genie, I would assume it would be, if anyone, a little bit more understanding than Krampus would,
Yeah.
as far as taking back gifts. So they're taking back whatever wishes, right? So, and then also when it was like, oh no, you're not going to take your wish back, like fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
Then the kid was like, well, okay, well then take me instead.
Mm-hmm.
And then even so, he's like, dude, you are not in a position
You have to be
whatsoever
making deals.
to be making deals and making demands and trying to rewrite the fucking agreement. Like I am legendary, dude. I've been around, like I'm ancient, more ancient than fucking Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Which funny enough, Santa Claus and then Krampus, and Krampus comes from the word Krampen, which means claw. So
That's fun.
I don't know, but more claw, like a
Yeah. Yeah.
meow kind of claw,
Yeah.
more like a liar, liar, beware the claw kind of situation.
Yeah.
So either one you choose.
Yeah. So when Max The funny thing to me too is that Krampus left Max, so presumably he was going to be the one survivor, and which one was left, Jordan or Stevie?
Stevie.
Stevie was, done for. So, Max decides he's going to try to fix the situation and get his family back, which is really bold. I'm like, you could have just gotten away. But I wonder if he hadn't wished that Christmas was just the way that it used to be, if he would have just been left in the regular world and like everyone who died would have been dead and that would have been that. But then he could have, you know, found a way to safety. I that's the one thing that I always wonder about this movie, just out of curiosity, because the ending is quite wonkadoodle, that they're like just in a snow globe. And I don't know
Well,
if they have to live that day over and over again, or if they're just in a Christmas snow globe forever.
there's a couple ways I think you can interpret it where it's like, did they ever get out? Are they
Mm-hmm.
is stuck in the snow globe forever?
Oh, they for sure are.
Or oh,
That's how
okay.
that's
Oh,
how I interpreted it. What was the or?
well, I was gonna suggest also that they all lived, and this is, just like a warning from the Krampus. And the snow globes, it's like the snow globes are just his window into all over the world, especially people that he needs to keep an eye on more so, like this family. So I
Oh,
don't know. So
I
like
didn't
that's
think
just,
about it that
and
way.
it's all, and it zooms out like, not quite Men in Black style with like the marbles and
Yeah,
everything, but like where it's like all his little workshop of snow globes, which I
yeah,
assume are different houses with different families and
yeah.
different kids or whatever. So, and that I for some reason I thought that's what the director was like, kind of leaning like what the ending was, rather than like,
Oh.
oh, this isn't real. We're just stuck in this forever, and like this is like our, not necessarily hell, but I'm just like, he does get Christmas back to the way it used to be, it kind of, right, where like they're all happy and cheerful
But
and
see,
stuff.
that's what I
But
thought was the kicker, was like, oh, I just want Christmas the way that it
mhm,
used to be. And it's like, okay, then you will live in Christmas for all of eternity. Like y'all are just gonna have Christmas morning over and over again in this house, because just the way that, I don't know, the way that it looks, and like, they see the little bell, little Krampus bell, and they all remember what happened, because it seems like they wake up and they forgot everything. And then as soon as they see that bell, even Rosie reacts.
I
Like,
love that. I love
yeah.
that they go to everybody in the family, and
And
then you go to
Rosie's
Rosie, and Rosie
like, "Hmm?"
and makes that like
Yeah,
sound.
a
Yeah.
little like side head. Um, yeah, wow. So we got two totally different endings like out of this movie. Um, I really thought that they were trapped in a snow globe forever, but you totally could be right.
I like
They,
that too.
yeah, maybe it is just so he can keep a close eye.
I do like I do like horror stories, especially ones geared towards young adults and kids that have bummer endings. So I'd be more apt to lean towards yours.
Well, and that's why I think I like this movie. I like the idea of that ending more, because I don't like the idea of everyone just coming back to life and Christmas being great. I like the idea of them all coming back to life and then having to be trapped in a situation where they're all together having their happy Merry Christmas. It feels very like Twilight Zone to me for them to be stuck living in that Christmas in a snow globe.
Do I get to pick which Christmas I get to live over and over and over again?
Like,
I wonder how those rules. Like I'm just like, sure, fine, give me this monkey's paw situation where like, yeah, I want Christmas to be the way it used to be,
mm-hmm.
but yeah, okay, it has to be under these weird, cryptic, spooky circumstances. Sure, fine. I'll meet you. I'll meet you halfway there. But do I get to choose which Christmas I get to relive over and over and over? Because I do think
Which
that's
one would
like,
you
yeah, I feel
choose?
like some would.
What age would you choose if you had to live it over and over and over again?
Well, but then it depends too, because I'm like, okay, so if it's the Christmas I got my N64 and Ocarina of Time, I'm like, okay, do I need to unwrap that every morning and restart the game
Oh,
over
that's
and over
frustrating.
again? Like, or do I
Yeah.
get to keep do I get to keep the save state?
No,
You know what I
I
mean?
think
Because
I
then
think it's a start over, do over situation. That's just my I feel like it has to be cruel. Like there has to be some like cruelty to it because it's Krampus.
there's no memory
There's no
cards
memory cards in
and
hell. Like
no save states,
no.
dickhead.
Yeah.
This is
You you start over every single fucking day.
yeah, you get this fucking, original Nintendo, and here's fucking some bullshit where if you die, you have to start all the way at the beginning.
Yeah.
But I like that.
Interesting. I'll have to look and see if I can find what the intended ending was. I don't like watching those videos where they're like the ending explained kind of thing, but I am kind of curious to hear other people's interpretations of this for sure. Yeah.
You know, I had a feeling we'd breeze through this one because again, it's
It's
not
a
really a
short
long
movie.
movie.
Yeah.
It's a short movie, and even the credits are like 10 minutes. Feels like it's like 8 to 10 minutes long. So,
Yeah.
um, gosh, any thoughts? Any additional thoughts? And also, I'm curious, any taglines you got for this one?
There are taglines. And this one I think actually has some fun ones. Christmas, I think anything that's like a Christmas movie or a Christmas horror movie typically has some fun taglines.
Mhm.
The other thing too about this movie and the taglines is that it has more than some of the other ones. So I'm starting to see, I'm starting to catch a little bit of a theme. This one is not part of that, but so Christmas movies seem to have a lot of taglines. Slashers are the ones that have a lot of taglines. It seems like anything that's like like a Midsummer or like even like Hereditary, or I'm thinking of what else only had like Fright Night, even like it was, a vampire movie. Like they have less taglines. It seems like slashers, they get real creative with the puns and the dates and surviving the night and who's the killer and all those things. So this one has 6 taglines. I'll start with one that really they shouldn't have credit for. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good. So be good for goodness sake.
That's Santa.
Yeah, I don't think that's theirs. But
He's weird. He's weird and creepy enough as it is.
yeah. I like, will you survive this Christmas? That's great. Keep it simple.
Like it.
You better watch out. That's a fun one. When the Christmas spirit is lost, he arrives. Dot 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 is coming to town. So presumably Krampus is coming to town. And then
Mm-hmm.
I think this one is my favorite. You don't want to be on his list. I like that.
Yeah, it's the
I
best
like
one.
that one. Like the
Yeah,
the a lot of the other ones feel very just Santa.
because it leans on you knowing Santa's rules and his
Mhm.
whole
Which I
situation.
mean,
You
presumably
know,
you would.
yeah, if you're familiarized with it, I mean, I think even if you don't celebrate, Christmas has become so
Oh
commercialized
yeah.
that it,
Well, come on. You hear
I
these
get it.
these fucking songs everywhere you go in December. So like the You Better Watch Out, that's a song. Is coming to town, that's a song. He sees you when you're sleeping, that's a song. So like even if you weren't someone who celebrates Christmas, like you've heard these fucking songs about Santa, you know his deal. Like
Is
he's
that
in
just
your
the name of the
face.
song?
What?
Is that just the name of the song? He sees you when you're sleeping.
It should be.
That's the song.
I just
Like,
no, but it should be. You got me on that one. Yeah, I like you don't want to be on his list.
um, I also like there was another one that you said that was more like kind of like gave you a little more plot. It kind of reminded me of the tagline for Trick or Treat, like they were made to protect us.
Mm-hmm.
And you were just kind of like, I don't know if I would like understand that, like outside of like after I've watched the movie, but it was like
Yeah.
one of the middle ones you said, where it was like more like just explaining the situation to you.
The Will You Survive Christmas?
No, what was the other one?
Oh, when the Christmas spirit is lost, he arrives.
Yeah,
That one it feels clear to me though. Like that's actually I think that's a good tagline. It's not as fun, but it gives you some context,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. And that is right smack dab in the middle of them. Yeah.
So who wants to go first with a boo score?
Ooh, I can go first.
Okay.
Okay. This one was a tough one. Every time I watch this movie, I feel different about it. I really enjoyed it on this last watch. Maybe I'm feeling the Christmas spirit. I hope you're listening, Krampus. Um, gosh, Tony Collette and Adam Scott really give it a good punch there. Rewatchability, I think rewatchability is high on this movie, and I think I would recommend it to people as like if you wanted something fun to watch like during Christmas time that's kind of scary, like it would be this and maybe like Gremlins. Um mm, I'm gonna give it a 2.5, 2.5 boos.
Love it. That's exactly what I was going to give it to.
Nice.
Um, when I think of this movie, like, when I talk about how a two movie is a perfectly fine, perfectly watchable, enjoyable time, I think of this movie. This movie feels like that.
Yes.
It's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. It's nothing great, doesn't really add much to it,
Yeah.
but everyone's fine. And I'll throw it an extra half a boo because you have Tony
Cast is
Collette
good.
and you have Allison Tolman and you
Mm-hmm.
have Adam Scott and you got the whole team. So, who I think is a better husband to Tony Collette than the other guy was in Hereditary. So
Oh yeah,
maybe,
for
and
sure.
then I was thinking just Adam Scott in Hereditary, and I think he would have been really good in it too.
They just have them together in all the movies. Yeah,
I love that.
I absolutely agree. And you know what, Max? Fuck you, because marriage is a long game that you just don't understand. But like when he says like I hope they fall in love again, even if they weren't at their best, like I felt like they were very supportive of each other,
Yeah,
right?
I think they still loved each other even when they're, and that's the thing. It's like, even when they're out of sync a little bit, which happens,
Yeah.
right? Like it's just a healthy relationship.
Yeah, there's
So,
ups and
Max,
downs.
stop fucking making it about you and this fucking
Yeah.
your idealized, fucking picture perfect fucking existence, dude. Like life's real, dude. Get over yourself.
Yeah.
I don't
You
know.
need to learn that at 10 for sure. All right.
So I was back and forth between a 2 and a 2.5 on this one, but
So was
I'm gonna
I.
go 2.5 too, just because I also think like I really did like a lot of the costuming for,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the little creatures and the elves and stuff. I thought
Yeah.
that the design for some of the monsters was really fun.
Yeah.
Um, and even when it gets a little silly and goofy, even with those dumb gingerbread people, but yeah, I don't know. I think 2.5. It's great, Yeah, watch it.
Yeah.
There's better spooky Christmas movies,
Oh,
definitely.
for sure.
Especially ones like when you mentioned Gremlins, I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I will always watch
Yeah,
Gremlins.
Gremlins is great. That's a great spooky horror
So
movie. What are some of your other favorite Christmas themed horror movies? Do you have any others?
mm, well, we're going to be talking about one next week.
Mm-hmm. Which,
Spoiler alert. Well, actually, not spoiler alert. You've all seen the calendar by now.
yeah,
We'll be talking about Better Watch Out, which is a recent one
yeah,
that I've enjoyed. I enjoyed quite a bit, but
me
we'll see.
too.
It's been a while since we watched it, and I think we watched it together. So
We
it'll be
did.
it'll be a nice refresh of that movie.
Is that the only time you've seen that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only watched it once as well, so that'll be fun. That'll be fun to rewatch. Yeah, we'll keep it Christmassy for a little bit, but I think those are my two of my favorites. I also do watch the I guess the Muppets isn't really horror, but it's a good one. What about
Got
your
ghosts.
what about a Christmas movie that isn't a horror movie? Do you have any favorite regular Christmas movies?
I don't know. I would say honestly, all three, I mean, I know they're bad slashers, but all three Black Christmases,
Yeah.
I enjoy for different reasons.
Yeah,
So, I would,
I
I
agree.
definitely want to say that. I definitely am not big into like Santa's sleigh or Violent Night or like some of those other ones are like Santa's just like killing people. It just all just seems like a little
Wait,
more
did you
into
watch
the like
Violent
the
Night?
schlocky. No.
It's fun. I fucking loved
Is
it.
it fun?
Yeah, I kind of
All
loved
right.
it. It's and like don't go into it with high expectations. It's a really weird, it's a really weird story, but it is extremely violent. I when they say violent night, they are not kidding. And I definitely watched that with Phil. And he was like, this movie is amazing. And I was like, you know what? It's not bad. And you have John Leguizamo as your villain. So that's fun.
I like
But I
that.
liked Violent Night.
There's let's see, I'm just looking at spooky Christmas movies on, I'm just Googling it. There's a one I've never seen, I have no intention. It's called Ginger Dead Man. But
Oh
why didn't
yeah.
you call it just Ginger Dread? Because it feels bread and dread,
Yeah,
and dread
okay.
is
Yeah.
still, Ginger Dread Man. But it's a little bit of a mouthful, but Ginger Dead Man also. So I mean, I don't
They want
know.
to make sure you know that
But
he's
as
killing.
far as yeah, as far as Christmas movies, just kind of in general, I don't know. It's I don't really care that much. So like usually I'm like one of those people that'll be like, let's watch Die Hard or let's
Yeah.
watch Batman Returns
Yeah,
or
you just find
let's
movies that
watch
take place during the holiday season rather
Edward
than,
Scissorhands even maybe.
yeah, I think Edward Scissorhands feels anything that has snow really is going to feel Christmassy to me too. Like, so yeah. Yeah, I can't think of
How about
any.
you?
So we do this thing where we watch episodes of like some of our favorite TV shows, they're Christmas episodes instead of movies usually. So when we're decorating the tree, like we'll play a bunch of we'll play like Parks and Rec, we'll play The Office. I'm trying to think. Those are usually the two main ones. But we watch Elf a lot just because it's like super lighthearted and like fun. Um but yeah, I typically watch Christmas horror because that's 90% of what I watch, really. I don't watch a lot. I don't watch a lot of non-horror movies, at least. Like I watch different types of television shows, but maybe 95% of what I watch movies wise is all scary. So
Oh yeah, me too. And yeah, so we're definitely those people that, when the holidays, any holiday rolls around, it's like, ooh, we've got a scary movie to watch for
yeah,
that. Or
we've got a horror movie for everything. So
we
yeah.
can't just watch a Christmas movie. It has to be, we can't just watch Jack Frost. We have to watch Jack Frost.
Good one. Good one. Oh
So
yeah,
thank you.
that's a fun movie I haven't watched in a long time. Oh,
Yeah.
Michael.
So, well, and we'll get more into the holiday conversation too as we go into
Mm-hmm.
next week. So I'll keep some Christmas cards in my back pocket here, for to continue through the month.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about Krampus before we wrap up?
No, I think I think Krampus is great. I think it's a fun movie if you're looking for something to watch that's scary and different and you've never seen it. I'd say watch it. And yeah, I think he wins over Santa. Like if you're going to be creepy, just really lean into it. Don't pull this
Yeah.
good cop card. Like Santa, are you really that much better than Krampus? I guess he does bring toys, but you know.
Yeah, the only other thing I can think of is when they were doing Christmas morning, whether it's real or not, and I think Tony Collette opens this like taxidermied cat or something,
Oh, because
and David
they
Koechner's like, "Oh, I
hunted it.
read." Yeah, and he's like, "Yeah, I reattached the foot myself," And then Allison Tolman says something along the lines of, as you can see, he did a really good job reattaching it. And like just the way she said it, I don't know why I just laughed. I thought it was a really funny delivery that seemed like just such a throwaway, like in the background
Yeah.
line.
I didn't
So
even
I
notice
thought it was
that.
really funny. She's real funny. I like her a lot.
Yeah.
Um, so I was telling you I was having this movie playing on in the background.
Mm-hmm.
The it's a well, it's another Wish themed movie. It started automatically playing Wish Upon. Remember that one with Ryan Felipe?
Oh my gosh, it did that to me when I watched it the other day. Yeah.
And I was thinking, why is this connected? And I was thinking, oh, it's just like, oh, here's another Wish movie. Here you
Totally
like Wishes
different.
Gone Wrong.
Totally different.
Yeah, which I mean, I
Yeah.
same, I guess, skeleton, I suppose, but also with someone from also Sherilyn Fenn, also from Twin Peaks. What we're talking about? Oh, Riverdale. I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Check out our Riverdale podcast.
Yeah.
Um,
And if you ever want to watch a terrible movie, watch Wish Upon and but enjoy what is Ryan Felipe is her dad, is the main character's dad, and he plays
so
saxophone in
cool.
his band. Is that right?
He's so cool.
He plays
Yeah, he's
saxophone,
so
right?
cool.
Yeah. So, if you want some silliness or you just want to see some more Ryan Felipe, go for it.
Yeah, if you just need your fix on movies about wishes gone wrong, go for it. Just go for that one next. Cool. Everybody. Well, I hope everyone's having a festive situation, whatever you're doing or whatever you celebrate.
Yeah, don't
Um,
lose that holiday spirit.
yeah,
Yeah.
or don't live in the vicinity of someone that might potentially not have that holiday spirit, and just don't work during the holidays and don't be a delivery driver because
Yeah,
you never know. I
you
don't
never
know.
know.
Take care, everyone. 3, 2, 1, ghost.
Thanks for listening to our episode on Krampus. You can see what we're up to and celebrate the holidays in a spooky way by giving us a follow on Instagram at 321ghostpod. We would appreciate if you left us a killer review and subscribe to our podcast wherever you choose to listen. And, as always, you can reach us by emailing 321ghostpod@gmail.com to share any feedback, ask questions, or give movie recommendations. No, seriously, we want to hear from you. Share some movies you want to hear us talk about. Next week, we continue to spread holiday fear with Better Watch Out. Thanks again for listening, and remember, at least Krampus is upfront about being a creep. Looking at you, Santa.